Italian Wine Podcast. Chin Chin with Italian wine people.
I'm with Virginie Saverys from the Avignonesi Winery in Montepulciano. That's Montepulciano, the place in Tuscany, and their main wine is called Vino Nobile, noble wine. Virginie, why did you decide to, how did it come about that you became proprietor of Avignonesi?
Well, I was asked by the previous owners if I wanted to take over the shares of one of the brothers who was leaving the company, which I did. I thought it was a perfect idea to get to know more about wine, which I loved so much for all my life.
How did you come into contact with wine when you were younger then?
Oh, well, every good meal at home was always accompanied by red wine, usually from Bordeaux, and usually quite good.
So, and where were you living? Were you living in France or?
No, I was living in Belgium.
And that's obviously where you're from?
Yes.
And what did you do in Belgium before becoming a wine grower?
I was a lawyer in a shipping company which belongs to my family, and I was doing pretty different things than what I'm doing right now.
Okay, so you got a legal training. Did you before buying the winery? Were you obviously you had a love for wine, but how did you prepare yourself technically on the technical side?
Well, because it was a bit sudden when we suddenly took over 100% of the winery, we decided we needed to have a crash course in wine business. So at the University of Bordeaux, ISVV, they organized these courses of continuing education in the first half of the year. And they really cover almost every theme from the soil up to the finished product and how to tackle any issues you might have with winemaking.
How did it feel going back to school? You know, obviously you're not a 17-year-old. How was that? And also combining a full-time career. How difficult was that?
I loved it. I really loved it. It was fantastic because we were in very small classes. We were max 10 people, and we had the top professors from Bordeaux University. So you were free to ask any question you wanted to these very respected professors. And no, I think I've always liked going to university. I didn't like passing exams or studying for the exams mainly, but here there were no exams involved, so that was great.
So you got a bit of technical knowledge. So when you took over it's one of Italy's most famous brands by the Avignonesi. You had a look at the vineyards. What was your decision on how to change them, or were you going to continue with the old way of doing things?
Well, very quickly I realized I wanted to change drastically the way things were tackled at Avignonesi. I was shocked when I saw how my staff had to dress up to mix the chemical products they were spraying on the vineyards to the herbicides and the pesticides and so on. And having myself always been treated by homeopathy since I was a little girl, having tried to eat organic as much as I can, I didn't think I wanted to do this with my land, which was mine now. And I didn't want to do that to the people who work for me. I didn't want to poison them. And I didn't want to poison the consumer who in the end drinks the bottle of wine.
So how hard was that initially? I mean, that's how big is Avignonesi? But how much vineyard have you got? It's pretty big, yeah?
Well, Avignonesi over, we had about 280 acres, I think. And now we have something like 460 acres. So that's quite big.
You are one of the biggest organic biodynamic producers on the planet.
On the planet, not. Yeah. But I've been told we are the largest in Italy in biodynamics.
Yeah, you're in the top 5 or 6, I think, on the planet.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, the bigger ones are...
Aren't there big ones in Australia?
Not
Chile?
really, no. They're a bit behind Australia. Chile has one very large one. California has one very large one. And in Europe, I think actually you are the biggest. So maybe you're number 3 worldwide.
Whoa.
That's not bad.
That's great.
Yeah, you learn something new every day, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, so you talked about your staff. I mean, did you keep any of the old staff or did you make a clean break? And if you did so, why?
Everything which is like winemaking and agronomy, I changed. The staff who is working the vineyards, the tractor drives and so on, they're still there. But I changed the staff we had to go for younger people with also a more international approach to things, people who've lived outside of Italy. Because I think it's important. I love Italy, but they sometimes have a beautiful word for it. They call it campanilismo, and unfortunately, so that means close to the tower of your church. Unfortunately, that sometimes gives them not very open ideas to what's happening in the world. So I now have I think the average age of my management is 31 or something like that.
Well, that really is incredibly low.
And I give them a lot of responsibilities because I travel a lot for the wine business and for my other business.
Were they afraid of that responsibility initially, or did they thrive on it immediately? How did they deal with that responsibility?
It depends of whom. Some drive on it, and some are a bit more worried. So you know how. That's what a boss is about. It's to know your people and know where you can go with which person and how you have to tackle it with them.
But did they buy into your sort of bio philosophy initially, or did they take a little bit of convincing?
Oh no, they had absolutely no problem with it, and I think that's the advantage of working with young people. Either they've never been confronted to conventional viticulture, or if they have worked in a winery which works in a conventional way, they are still with an open mind to innovation, to new things, to new techniques. If you're working with someone who's in his 50s and has to change, that's much, much harder. And my agronomist, he's never worked with chemical products. He doesn't know. If you ask him the name of a pesticide which you can use against tignoletta or the grape moth or something like that, he wouldn't even be able to tell you the name. So I think that's lovely.
One of the people often look at organics, say one of the disadvantages is you actually need more manual labour, more physical labour, more people in the vines. What do you see? Do you see that as a problem or as an advantage?
I see that as a great advantage. I rather pay the people who live in my area and give them a living, a job to do, than have money flow to the Monsantos, Bayers and BASFs of this world for spraying products which are, in the end, polluting the planet on which we live. And at the moment, we still have only one planet on which we can live.
Yeah, right. There's not like a plan B. We haven't got a plan B, have we?
Not yet.
So, what does the future hold? Are you going to buy any more vineyards? Are you happy with Avignonesi?
No, I'm happy with the vineyards we have now. I really want to consolidate. We are, though, at Avignonesi, and I think that's very important, and this young staff likes that too. We're doing a lot of experiments in the vineyards and in the cellar.
Like what? Like pruning by the moon? Anything wacky like that? Or
it's, for instance, on 501.
Which is one of the biodynamic sprays to
yes.
make the grapes taste riper.
We are doing an experiment together with Cereto. The plan was that there were also some wineries in France who would join, but at the moment not much success. And so we're doing experiments of when and how and what we do on a 501, and then what's the effect going to be. And we do separate vinifications, of course. It's a parcel which is quite homogeneous, so you can compare.
A parcel of vines, yeah.
A parcel of vines, so you can compare the grapes picked in one, treated this way or treated that.
Do you think that's been one of the downfalls or the disadvantages or the negative aspects, I should say, of the organic movement? There hasn't always been a lot of science. People say, I know that it works because I see it works, but people actually say, well, have you got any scientific data? Are you trying to change that?
We don't really want to change that, but for us, biodynamics is in se, not the finality. What is important for us is that we get a balanced vineyard which gives us healthy fruit in a way which is healthy for the planet as well. And so we are doing experiments with homeopathy as well. We are trying to avoid as much as we can using copper. So we are doing a lot of experiments with alternative products which we add to the copper. We are around 2 kilos per hectare of copper per year, which is...
For those of you who don't know, copper is used to treat a disease called downy mildew, and there's a sort of copper-based spray that's low. But what Virginie is saying is you're using much lower levels than the authorised level for organic regulation.
I don't like the spraying of copper because it's a heavy metal, even though it's in a very minute quantity. But still, my dream would be that in the future there will be a day where we will not be using any copper at all. Neither would we be using any sulfur. That's my big scheme for the future. Okay, so when you get home at night and you unwind and you get a glass of wine, what do you cook? What do you like cooking? Well, I've become a vegetarian since a number of years. I do eat a little bit of fish from time to time. And I love exotic food. So I love cooking Thai, Indian, Chinese, Japanese. And so I love to use spices as well. I grow some fierce chilies in my vegetable garden, which I then dry and grind. I think the great thing about our wines based on Sangiovese is that Sangiovese is a grape varietal which goes really well with spicy food. It also, strangely enough, goes well with things like sushi. If you serve our Rosso di Montepulciano a little bit cooler than you would a normal red wine, and you drink that with sushi, it's perfect. I even had it with oysters. So Sangiovese is a very versatile grape varietal to combine with a lot of food.
Yeah, you talked about the campanilismo earlier on, about the sort of just really not seeing further than the walls of your own village. So here you come, you've revolutionized a bit with biodynamics, and you're cooking sushi and spicy food with red wine. I think that okay, she really is crazy, this lady. Totally nuts.
Well, it's fantastic because in the restaurant we have at the winery, last year our cook always gives like a little appetizer when people arrive. And last year they made like a Tuscan sushi as a little appetizer, which was it was really nice, and people liked it.
Okay, final question. What's your next challenge, personally or professionally?
Well, as I said before, it's having a copper-free, sulfur-free, ideally, but I think we are just a bit too big for that. If I could do all the work without tractors and go back to horses, but I think my kids will probably kill me if they hear that.
Yeah, no, I know you and I have talked about that. I think Virginie should, everything that we've heard so far, I don't think you'll disagree, is to make your stables like straw bale constructions. And I think it'd be great if you could do that. Honestly, you would be a global leader if you could do that on a vineyard of your scale and your fame. And it's such a famous name, Avignonesi. And you have some space. It will take organisation. I would absolutely love to see you do that. It'd be absolutely brilliant.
When I saw Montepulciano in Bordeaux and at Latour, they do it as well. But Montepulciano, I think they do the entire wine vineyards. And they're quite big as well.
80 hectares, yeah.
It's fabulous. Their wines are much more expensive than mine. So
yeah. Did you have animals? I mean, just out of interest, did you have animals when you were a kid? I mean, horses, or I'm not just talking dogs and cats, but I mean, you're quite sporty.
I don't have myself a lot of animals at home because unfortunately I'm a bit allergic to animals. We have a cat which is half feral, but I feed her and I can even give her a hug from time to time. But I would love to have some cows at Avignonesi so that we make our own dung for the preparation 500. I would like to try as well with these very little sheep from Ouessant.
Baby doll sheep.
Because they could be like my grass mower in the vineyards.
Yeah, so the idea with the baby doll, they're small, they eat the grass, but they're not tall enough to nibble the grapes.
Exactly. And their dung falls in the vineyards, and so it's automatically a fertilizer in your vineyards.
Okay, Virginie Saverys, fascinating. I look forward to coming back and seeing 3 members of staff and 85,000 sheep in your vineyard. Nice to talk to you. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you, Monty.
Follow us at Italian Wine Podcast on Facebook.